News brief. Capcom's will receive Resident Evil 2 remake has shipped over 5 million units during its first month. The game launched on Xbox, PlayStation 5, and PC back on January 25th, and initially shipped 3 million copies in 5 days. THATMEANS another 1 million units have been sent out in the days since. If the remake can maintain that momentum, it might soon eclipse 96 million sales put in by the 1996 original, which is currently the 4th best-selling entry in the franchise to date. Epic Games seemingly has another lawsuit on its hands over a dance emote featured in Fortnite, this time over the Running Man. The suit is just the latest on the growing pile of legal cases that accuse Epic Games of stealing and profiting off of famous dances, many created by black artists, without asking or compensating the original creators of those dances. The Running Man case, however, is slightly different from past lawsuits, due to the fact that the ones levying the case against Epic Games are not the original creators of the dance itself. Instead, the lawsuit has been filed by Jalen Brantley and Darren Nickens, two former college basketball players, who say they popularized the Running Man through the viral 2016 Running Man Challenge. The lawsuit seeks over $5 million in damages, and claims Epic Games did not credit plaintiffs or seek their consent to use, display, reproduce, sell, or create a derivative work based upon plaintiffs' Running Man dance or likeness. Copyright law regarding dance moves on its own is a complicated beast, since individual steps cannot be copyrighted under current rules, and the Running Man suit takes that murkiness one step further since the Running Man itself existed and saw a mainstream presence decades before Brantley and Nickens popularized the challenge. Epic Games, meanwhile, just recently spoke out against the onslaught of lawsuits that accuse the company of taking and profiting from the work of each dance's original creators. Specifically, the company urged the court to dismiss the lawsuit filed by the rapper Millie, saying that the plaintiff's lawsuit is fundamentally at odds with free speech principles, as it attempts to impose liability and thereby chill creative expression by claiming rights that do not exist under the law. Fresh Prince star Alfonso Ribeiro and Russell Honing, better known as Backpack Kid, have both filed similar lawsuits against the company as well. Forgotten Kid, the indie studio behind 2017's Air, Memories of Old, is closing its doors after 7 years and releasing demos for its unreleased and unannounced projects on itch.io. As a result, studio founder and CEO Robin Hield spoke candidly about the coming closure in a Medium post, saying that ultimately the fault lies in being unable to find ways to sustain a growing studio despite everyone's best efforts to do so. The answers are probably many and nuanced, where we will surely fall to whatever the opposite of survival bias is called when trying to find explanations. Sage out. One answer is probably the market's development, another personal misjudging of priorities, and a third the inherent problem between making business out of creativity and art. Along with a small reflection on the journey of the studio, Hield shared contact and portfolio information for the artists, programmers, designers, and producers that will be looking for work once the studio officially closes its doors. That information, alongside links to the team's final projects, can be found in the full Medium write-up. Rebellion co-founder Chris Kingsley has been made an honorary officer of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire in the Queen's New Year's Honours list. Kingsley founded the rebellion in 1992 with his brother Jason, also on BA, and has grown the company from an ambitious startup to a globally recognized game studio with over 300 employees. The company has produced over 85 games, including Sniper Elite, Aliens vs Predator, Road Trooper, and Strange Brigade, and is also involved in a range of other media projects within the comic book, television, and movie industries. I am greatly honored and very grateful to have been made an OBA in the Queen's New Year's honored list. This honor represents a recognition of the achievements of Rebellion, and perhaps more importantly, the entire United Kingdom video games development industry, commented Kingsley. I look forward to driving forward Rebellion on the wider United Kingdom video games industry in the months and years to come. This interview is part of our Road to the series. You can find the rest by clicking here. Just Shapespeed sees a bullet hell in a music visualizer, and design a dance of light, color, and song as players struggle to survive, while moving and dodging to the beat. Gamasutra had a talk with Simon Lawrence, designer of the Excellence in Visual Arts nominated title, to learn about the ideas that went behind creating the game's visual spectacle, building stages out of a music visualizer, and how he chose music that inspired him to create audio battle zones. I am Simon, Lawrence, and I am the game designer for Just Shapespeeds. Unofficially, he started making games as a burritos back in college. Officially, I have built a game dev for 14 years now. Started off in a local studio as a coder, then left to create Berserk Studio with my two associates, Atiya and Mark. 10 years ago. Been in this full-time ever since. We started by making super small games for a few bucks, and over the years ended up making over 25 flash and mobile games, with the end goal of someday making games for consoles. And now here we are. Just Shapespeeds was inspired by the music itself. 6 years ago, I went to a concert at BD, bought a CD from one of the artists playing Parallel Processing by Dynamo Cannon, and forgot about it. Months later I found it, and put it in my car, then instantly started seeing gameplay. A few months later, I went to a local game camp in Quebec City, and decided to do that music game I had a fever dream about in the car. But being a coder, I could not draw for shit, so I made it about shapes. I used Flash, Law Flashes for most of the prototyping phase, then moved to Unity for shipping. A lot of flashing colors and a big old seizure warning. All kidding aside, it's basically a gamma between a visualizer, and funky visualizers are awesome to watch. Have you wasted hours looking at them back in the 90s? I sure did. It's mostly trying to create something that looks how it sounds, something that's inspired by what the music makes you feel. The music is not just playing in the background. You are playing the music. There's no single way to look at it. It's like when you fall in love. It just feels right. When deep, just listen to gallons of chiptunes, and isolate those that would inspire us with gameplay. No metrics, just feels. Honestly, the co-op part is mostly a happy accident. The initial game was a super hard single-player mouse-based flash game. We added the multiplayer because we had an opportunity to go to a game show and felt we needed to have it just so more people could play the game over the weekend. The reception was amazing, so we decided that is how we had envisioned it all along. Geniuses. We are, I would not say difficult, but it was stressful wondering if we were just another novelty in the multiplayer game. Adding the story mode helped in relieving some of that anxiety. but only created no problem, where we did not know if players were going to like the story we had to tell. We are not storytellers here, and putting something out there that's way outside your comfort zone is scary, dude. We wanted everyone to be able to experience our game. Just Shapes Beats is about jamming out to music, not about having the aim of a StarCraft player and the reflexes of a Psylocke tiger on steroids. Adding a mode that you can just have playing in the background that anyone can just mess around with to liven up a family shindig took nothing out of the global experience. Microsoft has unveiled the next version of its mixed reality HoloLens headset. The emphatically named Microsoft HoloLens 2. The company debuted the headset at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, and claims the new device has made strides forward in three key areas: immersion,